Alright, before we begin, just a couple things to note. At the time of this recording, it's only been about a day has passed since the wildfires from Canada that caused the air to be toxic for the past 2 days. So that's why I haven't really done much recordings. But now for today's episode. I know there are some people like the cartoon hero that can find good in this episode. But today's episode is yet another episode I have a personal vendetta with, because when I first watched this episode, it happened literally on the worst day I had at Mitchell College when I first watched it, where essentially some people saw me watching the show and got made fun of it by two people who I'm not really friends with. One who ended up blocking me on Facebook, and the other who I haven't really seen much after my junior year. Then after watching that episode, I tried to hang out with some friends, and then that gang got banned for no reason at being at their house. So yeah, this episode when I first watched it came out on the worst day I had at Mitchell College, and that definitely affected how I felt about this episode. But after watching this episode again, the whole episode is still contrived, and third bad episode in a row. And honestly, it's just not good, but it's not as bad as Marks and Recreation or Daring Done, but it's still bad. You know what? Let's just get this over with. This is Secrets and Pies. So this episode begins at Sugar Cube Corner, where we see Pinkie Pie making, well, pies.
Real measurements? How do you keep track without a recipe? I think it is more art than science. And this will be my masterpiece. It's to celebrate Rainbow Dash's 73rd wonderful training session.
I'm assuming that the reason that she would know that would be probably letters that she'd give to Rainbow Dash, wondering how she's doing. Kind of following up on Wonderbolt Academy.
The pie is blueberry because Wonderbolt outfits are blue. The crust is rainbow for obvious reasons. But the most special part is the 73 super secret sweets and spices that represent each training session. Could you please pass the brown sugar, pink sugar, sweet root apple, jelly, berry mash in its house?
It's really great how Twilight knows her friend really that well to know what ingredient she's asking for.
You sure are going to a lot of trouble for Rainbow Dash's pie. Phew, that's because I know how much she loves them. My pies are her favorite.
I mean, just speaking from personal experience, I am really not the hugest fan of a pie. I'm really not the biggest pie guy in the world. I guess really it's just kind of me. I'm just not a fan of the look or the texture of any pies, so I can't really speak from personal experience. But we do get this humorous moment of Pinkie basically eating chocolate.
What now? Isn't that for the pie? Twilight, that's hilarious. Don't mix chocolate into a blueberry pie. This is my mid-morning pie-making chocolate fuel that keeps this pie-making train chugging down the track. Breaktime's over. Now let's finish this pie.
I really like how she did it in time to the music. So yeah, so you would think just by the first minute, you don't think that this episode would be bad. Well, let's get into it. Because after the theme song, we see Pinkie Pie stop by Ivy's Wonderbolt Academy and basically gives her pie to Rainbow Dash, who eats it. And I'm putting eating in quotes because this is just another episode that is so contrived, you know where the plot point is going, but it's not really an enjoyable predictability. It's the one that you've seen countless times, you know where it's going to go, and you're just begging just to get to the end to see what happens. Where Pinkie then sees the pie in the trash and then starts to basically get paranoid over it.
That was my pie. That would be bananas. Unless Rainbow Dash has been replaced by an imposter who throws delicious pies away. Or has she been brainwashed by a pie-eating evil queen? You make a good point. Rainbow Dash is too stubborn to be brainwashed. Plus she hates washing.
So then, this is where, and this is the point of the episode where we know things are going to go, as Pinkie gets a flashback of all the times that Rainbow Dash has been eating her pies. And the first time this bothers me is that we get a flashback to Rainbow Dash's birthday. And this is the same birthday that happened all the way back in Pinkie Pride in Season 4. We know this for a fact because of the canon that was during that goof-off between Pinkie and Cheese Sandwich is in the background.
Another.
And we see that Rainbow Dash basically knocked the pies away by taking her out.
Huh. Guess it was nothing.
And this is where we know that this episode starts to not get better from then on. Because, while I will admit that the other two, we do get some really nice moments where Rainbow Dash does the same thing and she does go a bit over the top to get rid of the pies. The problem that I can't get past is the fact that because the first flashback took place in Pinkie Pride, and admittedly I don't really know the time frame of how the show takes place, but given how Pinkie Pride has happened in Season 4, and this is now Season 7, this leads me to believe that Rainbow Dash has been lying to Pinkie Pie for years and has not once tried to own up to this. Oh, and just because I want to drive another wedge in this episode, you know that stupid Nickelodeon movie that came out in 2017, that Firefire movie that starred John Leguizamo and John Cena? You know when that scene in John Leguizamo that basically, he was basically giving a synopsis to this episode, yet that movie was showing clips of the premiere episode. Oh, if Nickelodeon is watching this, it's probably been about 6 years since that movie came out. I don't really remember the name of that movie. But, like, if you were going to give a synopsis to a plot of literally any episode from the show, why this one?
For my birthday! Custard was everything. Have I ever really seen Rainbow Dash eat one of my pies?
So because she thinks that at Rainbow Dash, but we as the audience knows that she was lying, Pinkie Pie goes on an investigation to basically get information if Rainbow Dash was following her, starting at Wonderbolt Academy.
Would you be able to pick these pies out of a lineup?
I will give this episode this. It's actually really nice to see the Wonderbolts interact with other members of the main sticks beyond just Rainbow Dash, so I'll give a point to that episode. And we also get to hear that Tank is back after a theme for a long time. Well, aside from that one-off in Rock Hard Friendship, but it's nice to hear about Tank again and see that his hibernation's over. And Shirley also gets more information.
I have a feeling it's the same pie. Well, wherever it comes from, the students just love it. I'm so glad.
So then, basically, Pinkie Pie comes to the realization that I pretty much only pointed out, that Rainbow Dash has not been eating her pies and that she's been lying to Pinkie for years.
That's my pie, and she's been lying to me about it the whole time!
Really humorous. See, that's the thing about this episode that's kind of a catch-22. While this episode does go really over the top with a lot of things, and it does give a little bit more chuckles out of me than some other episodes, the problem is with how contrived the setup is, you know exactly where this whole thing is going to go, and it's just frustrating to watch Rainbow Dash as we see Applejack enter the secret party cave and then talks to Pinkie.
Rainbow Dash pies for years, but she doesn't even like them. She's been lying to me!
But every pony loves your pies. They're the greatest thing since sliced apples.
Thank you!
And I could swear I've seen her eat one of your pies before.
Have you really?
So then, admittedly, we get to see Pinkie go into full-blown panic mode, where we see her basically imagine Rainbow Dash is essentially a demon who hates, well, all kinds of meat. Again, I really like how they go over the top with it, but this gives me the opportunity to see how Pinkie interprets it. In the words of Big Brother legend Devon Roger, Pinkie has become...
BSC. That's crazy. She need to have her ass in acting classes. The Oscar goes to. Go ahead, give her her award. Because, baby, she got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just need to make that joke.
All this madness.
So because of that, and realizing that Rainbow Dash has been lying to her, Pinkie decides to sneak into Rainbow Dash's house, and we see how...
Beneficial. but I made you your favorite pie in celebration! Gifts are the second most important part of Wake Your Friends Up Day.
What's the first most important part?
Accepting the gifts and enjoying them immediately.
Well, I'm sorry I forgot about Wake Your Friends Up Day. Let me make it up to you.
And at this point, the episode doesn't even try to hide it at this point. They literally see that Rainbow Dash, at this point, deliberately try to fake out Pinkie by basically getting her to sneeze on flowers and throwing another pie down the tank and acting like she eats it. Yes, I know that it's over the top, but it's really frustrating hating to watch, especially the Rainbow Dash, because, again, Rainbow Dash has been lying to Pinkie for years and has not tried to communicate this. This is essentially kind of what happened in Pony Point of View in last season. However, instead of between three friends, Rainbow Dash had not been communicating with Pinkie Pie for years, whereas Applejack, Rarity, and Pinkie didn't communicate with each other for like a few days. There's a larger time gap with bigger issues.
The pie, where did it go?
What do you mean, where did it go?
You know what? I'm not even going to bother because, like I said, the episode doesn't even try to hide it, and it basically makes Rainbow Dash very insensitive and unlikable in this episode. And yes, I understand they want to try to make it over the top, and if Rainbow Dash doesn't say it outright, we wouldn't have an episode. But again, Rainbow Dash has not been communicating with Pinkie about this for years, and this would have been an issue for me. As Pinkie Pie tries again, and she doesn't eat the pie and act like she did. So she tries attempt number 3.
Fix the top pie of my pie pyramid, but the whole thing became unstable, and there's only one way to save me. We have to eat the pie.
Don't worry, I got you.
All right, or you can save me that way.
Okay, so I'll give Rainbow Dash this. That was more on Pinkie's end, I will admit. But then Pinkie tries yet again and basically gives her a handful of pies.
I can't wait to eat all these pies!
Like I said, I understand it's the point, but it's becoming more and more trying, knowing the fact that Pinkie has been being lied to for years, and Rainbow Dash is being really deliberate on trying to hide this fact. It makes me want to ask Rainbow Dash this, where Pinkie is just seeing right in front of her face that she's being lied to in trying to get rid of the pies. So,
Delicious! You did it again, Pinkie!
Which concussion did you suffer that made you think any of this was a good idea?
that's my question to the writers at this point. So Pinkie essentially gets even more crazy, where she basically bakes pies for every pony, and she hasn't been blinking.
Now! Are you okay? You seem to be staring more than usual. I just really like to watch others enjoy my pies. You sure you don't have to blink? Me? No, I'm not much of a blinker.
Okay, well I guess that lets me know how she was able to keep her eyes open without blinking.
Don't mind me. Go ahead and take a bite. Well, do I want to take a big bite or a small bite?
As you can tell, Rainbow Dash at this point is just stalling.
I just don't know. Or maybe...
Padding, padding, padding.
Definitely not.
Padding, 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 padding. Help!
Now we get a really big...
Do you have any milk?
What is happening right now? I don't know. I just know that I hate it.
To resist. What? No, no. That's it. I can't take it.
Everything okay, Pinkie?
No, everything is not okay. You hate my pie.
What are you talking about?
You know exactly what I'm talking about. I saw what you did. I didn't see what you did. But because I know that you've been vacating my pie. You threw away the pie I made for your 75th wonderful training session, and I know you secretly somehow got rid of all the other pies I gave you. That's crazy.
And then the pie lands directly on Pinkie, and Rainbow Dash gets busted.
Cut you! What? I just wanted to share these amazing pies with the folks of Cloudsdale.
Cowards!
I have nothing further to say, Rainbow Dash. I'm sorry. I know that it's very over the top, and admittedly, it did give me a few laughs, but this is so much padding that it just makes me want to bypass everything faster, and Rainbow Dash's lies is just so neck deep that it's not even funny.
Trying to send them up via balloon mail. But you just said they were delicious. Well, obviously that's because I have amnesia. I've been brainwashed.
What the... What the...
It's opposite day. Your memory part is fine, you hate watching, and I know today's not opposite day because I take you a pie for it every year. Pie that you probably just throw away, or give to charity, or destroy with your laser eyes while laughing at me!
Laser eyes?
Oh, so you admit it. What? No, I can explain.
Save it.
I don't want to hear it!
Yeah, so now Rainbow Dash has realized how much of a fuck-up she is, because...
Let me apologize. I feel terrible.
You
Well,
should.
you have been lying to her. To all of us, actually.
For years.
Yeah. Is there anything else you're lying about that we should know?
No! Well, not that I can think of off the top of my head. Is it my fault that I don't like pies?
No, it's your fault for not telling Pinkie this sooner. So,
What did you just say?
To think you take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit. And not just Pinkie's pies, all pies. I know how much she loves making pies, and if I told her I didn't like them, it would have crushed her.
okay, well, maybe if you would have told her sooner, then maybe none of this would have happened.
You kind of crushed her anyway.
But
You know what, I don't even care anymore. So Rainbow Dash realizes how much of a fuck-up she is, decides to go to Pinkie, and basically eat a really disgusting, nasty pie that she made herself.
go back and eat all the pies you made for me in the past. So instead, I'm gonna eat this giant one for you now. So here I go.
And from the looks of it, from what I'm seeing, the pie, it looks like there's wheat growing out of it, a couple of carrots, a banana peel, sludge, and a pretty much completely eaten apple.
Wait, I can't watch you do this. Is that crust or some kind of concrete?
Yeah, honestly, I have no idea.
Oh, I can't believe you're really taking this terrible pie from me. It's ridiculous, and this whole thing is overly complicated, and I think I finally understand why you lied. Whoa!
Really?
Guess it was nothing.
So we see that Pinkie was happy. Again, she...
It was an overly complex thing to get rid of my pie, because it made you happy to see me happy. Just like I went to a lot of effort to make you the pie, because it made me happy to see you happy.
You know what? I don't care.
I could have told her that.
Yeah.
Cool. And how about this? Your hugs are too tight.
What would have saved us a lot of time and would have made something better, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Alright, so that was Secrets and Pies, the third one in a row. This episode's crap. I'm sorry, this episode is not enjoyable to watch. I will give this episode this. I do like how they do go over the top with a lot of aspects, and it does bring us back the crazy Pinkie that we have seen since Party of One all the way back to Pinkie Pie. Party of One, to see how far Pinkie will go to all kinds of extremes to essentially basically figure out the truth. The problem is that the episode already addresses it earlier in the episode, and it's really just not the fun predictability where you know it's going to go, but the journey is just enjoyable to get to. No, this is a journey that is so boring and predictable that you just expect to just fast forward and just want the episode to be over because you know exactly what's going to happen. The fact that Rainbow Dash has been lying to Pinkie Pie for years makes her incredibly unlikable in this episode. Yes, she does redeem herself in the last 5 minutes, but it's like once you saw what exactly is going to happen, we already know where this is going to go. And I understand that was the point, but it's not an enjoyable thing for me to watch, where it just gets so frustrated, it just gets me really angry to see this. Now, like I said, it's not as bad as, say, Marks and Recreation or Daring Done, because there were a lot more things that made me angry, and much like Once Upon a Zeppelin, this is another episode that can be debatable where you can kind of like it, but it's just not, it's not that good of an episode, I'm sorry, and the moral really is just decent, but because of how far the extremes went out of their way, especially Rainbow Dash has had to learn it for, I don't know, because this is another lesson that she had to learn, and to just not being able to communicate with her, it's just not that good of an episode. Now, I will give it this, it's better than some other episodes, but just because the timing of this episode for me personally, when I first watched it, it really just made it a sour experience for me. So, I guess really as a whole, Secrets and Pies, I think the only fair thing to do is just to give it a C-. Because my thing is that this episode just does a lot of things that does make me laugh, and it does get me more, or make me more excited and laugh at a couple of moments. But it just completely shoots itself in the foot in almost every aspect, where the whole thing is just filler. Where you just want to speed up the stupid parts, where you just want to get to the really predictable part and just see everything just blow up. Alright, so with so yeah, Secrets and Pies, it's a C-. Alright, can we just please give me an episode I can work with? Alright, so next episode is Uncommon Bond. Oh, thank God. Hopefully, I'm hoping this next episode will be at least decent. And I cannot believe that the ending of Season 7 has just been repeatedly hitting itself over and over again. But yeah, so we're going to be at the penultimate episode before the 2-parter finale. I cannot believe that I'm getting to the end of Season 7. I'm kind of surprised at myself for getting through these episodes a lot quicker than I did now. But in any case, next time I will see you at the penultimate episode of Season 7, Uncommon Bond. See you guys next time. Bye.